though. Nah, man. No, it's good to see you though, bro. For real. You already know, man. You know this is a communal show. So this is PSA. Philly Service Announcement, Takeover Tuesday, Takeover Love, Support, Grace, Social Activism, Resources, and Art. I am the assist, African Support and Strength, Inspiration and Success together. Shout out to Raw Cannon, all the cannons, my Nick, the Queen. You know, I'm that she go right there. Black love is a beautiful thing. That's my brother Mildy Zach, you know. So we have a guest. I think y'all see the guest over here this way. Hey. You know what I'm saying? But we're not gonna get to her yet. Nah. First thing I always got to do, you know, what I do, we got our third game today in West Philly, 7300 North 39th Street. You know, I'm proud of the little brothers, you know what I'm saying? They stuck in. The main thing about doing anything for our children is consistency, even if you don't always have everything that they need to do the things that you're trying to do. Consistently coming and actually explaining that. Is a big thing with our young people, you know what I'm saying? Allow them to be heard by explaining to them what is next, what is going on, you know, because when we first started doing the basketball, shout out to Chef with the Rock League, Chef with the Rock team. Shout out to the brother Cheese who run a league in Mantua, you know, at Olive Playground. One of the things that the young boys expressed to us when we first started, like they were kind of like coming, not coming, because the adults hadn't been consistent with programming in, you know, the Boys and Girls Club. And it's something that happens. Sometimes it's programming stuff, it's money stuff, it's relationships, you know, between adults that young people don't know about. And we never explain to them why a thing is not happening. It could just go away. And these young people were you know, they starting more and more to anticipate, because this the other thing about our young people is they come from situations where being let down by adults is not unusual for a variety of reasons, you know. And I'm not going to say parents, because I'm tired of that, John. I'm tired of the whole, we ain't going to get into that whole conversation. We might, but I'm tired of parents. I'm adults. If the parents are not stepping in, it's other adults that are around this baby who can step in. And that's a decision you need to make. You know what I mean? And stand on the decision you make. If you decide not to step in on some young folks and things go awry, we really don't want to hear your voice. You had your opportunity. And I don't think we're saying that to enough adults, because we keep saying parent. You know what I mean? When we're the village. The parent is just a singular body in the village. They are not the village. So if we keep saying that the village is XYZ, how do we keep just pointing at the parents and saying, oh, it's the parents. They didn't do their job. How you know the village did the job for the parents? But so that was one of the things that came out from the young people's mouths when we first started the basketball league. So shout out to all the little brothers. We still trying to build transportation, all of that stuff, because that's like our biggest issue with getting a lot of young people in the space. So anybody that's doing things with young folks out there, when you do your budgets or whatever, put transportation in there. Somehow, some way, make sure transportation is I know people are already like, nah, that's normal. No, nah, like people really still are not getting access because whatever you're providing, you don't have transportation to add to that. Getting these children from point A to point B. And I ain't just talking about to the event. What about home, event, back home, maybe event, you know, somewhere to eat, home. So put that in your budget, man. We need transportation, and they always hungry. Young people always hungry. They eat everything, anything, everything. You be like, y'all ate that? They don't care. If it's food, they gonna try it. You know what I mean? So, shout out to the basketball team, like I said, to the Hill and Station, Niche, all my babies, you know what I'm saying? Carlita, everybody at the Hill and Station. Come on through 1621 Westmaster. You know, we do after school homework out. We do circles. We have a solar ag lab. We have a literacy program on Thursdays, solar ag lab on Saturdays, circles all day, every day. Like I said, we do the after school help, and it's basic stuff. Like, so not so much like say that again. Shout out to Carly Coat, and because it's a woman centered center. And women no longer running on empty. It's a woman centered center. But because black women in particular, are the community, everybody is welcome. But it's centered on women, young women, just having that sisterhood, that camaraderie between women. I feel like Not saying it's not happening anywhere with my sisters, but me being a man, of course, I'm going to know where men are coming together. So I know that because I experienced it as a man. But just looking at the landscape, I do see more men doing those type of things, the circles, the healing circles. And it sounds funny because it's men. When I hear a lot of women talk about being spiritual, but I don't hear that connection being made. They talk about in their personal life how they deal with their sisters, but are we having an organized effort to find some communal healing around sisterhood? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of sisters rock with other sisters. Cool. And it's that other thing of y'all cheer for each other. You know, when I see a sister doing something, you know, great or, you know, however it's being viewed, y'all cheer for each other. But those having a lot of those spaces where women are just getting together to talk, hash out ideas, come up with structures, standards. How should women be dealing with each other? How should we be dealing with the younger women? Like what's going on intergenerationally? You know, shout out to Rakia. Whenever I say intergenerational, like, you know, that's one of our main things, you know, getting out a lot of the information that we getting it out. It has to be an intergenerational conversation. It's crazy because we even talk in silos in our own community. You have older folks talking whatever they're talking, young people talking whatever they're talking, and the people in between are kind of just missing. We don't really know what they're talking. Folks like my age, 30, 40s, it's like, I know why y'all missing. Y'all the parents that they talk. People my age is the parents. The 40s and the late 30s, y'all the parents of a lot of these young people that they talking about. So that's why y'all missing. Like, I don't hear y'all voice. I hear it, but I don't hear it as a group. Like, we could talk about 50 and older. They talk as a group. Older folks is like, when you hear that, they're consistent with their rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the kids, they ain't with the kids, we ain't with it. The mask, I'm not with it. Whatever it is, COVID, get your test, get from over here. You know what I'm saying? Like and the young people are a unified front with their message too. As much as they go through all the things that they go through, when you ask them certain things, they consistently say the same thing. So, again, shout out to the Healing Station, Chef with the Rock League. We got another game tonight at 7. Definitely shout out to Reentry Community Farms. My brother Stan, like, we got some real things that we doing with Black Dirt Farm. We're gonna do a lot of stuff. We already doing agriculture stuff. My man is a real farmer, agriculturalist. I can't even get it out. Is that a word? Environmentalist, a stalwart of the planet. My man told me we just walking dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we just walking dirt. You know, and I understand it. I understand what he's saying. So we are very much into sustainability as a community. You know what I mean? You know, it ain't just like this green job, green energy thing. No. We are the first stalwarts of this planet. We've been taking care of the planet. We lost our way somewhere. But now a lot of our brothers and sisters are getting that information back. They tapping into that, what they call that collective consciousness that runs through us. The way we say, you know, all of these things are in our DNA. The good stuff in there too. You know, the trauma in there, yeah. But the good shit in there too. So tap into that too. So that's something that a lot of our brothers and sisters are doing. Being sustainable, living off the land, being able to produce your own food, all of that. Those things are very, very important right now. They're always important. But right now, you need to find you a plot of land because you don't know if the food real. The food, you don't know if it's toxic. It's too fucking expensive. That's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my brother. We trying to teach our people about solar, about irrigation, about farming, and just being sustainable. And then, you know, we bring everything back to that restorative justice piece of healing self. Can't do none of this if you ain't healing self. You know how people, if you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. If you're not healing yourself, you can't heal the planet. That's not, if you are toxic, you're not going to be somebody trying to get rid of toxic waste. It's just not going to happen. If you know, I was about to give y'all an example, but I'm not going to do that. So I got all of that out, and this young lady has waited patiently. You know what I'm saying? I think I have tried to get her on the show a few times before. She is one of those people.
Oh, no.
You know, not like that. Like, some people I had to, like, when I see them, like, yo, when you coming on the show, man? Right. But I think me and you have probably been in passing maybe 2 or 3 times. And I know your husband as well. Yes. So, like, we have been in passing a few times with the Fathership Foundation. Yes. I do know you have done some work with Eddie's house, and I was doing work with Eddie's house. Mm-hmm. So I know that connection is there. So I know I've seen you in passing, but it was doing the work. Yeah, it was never a thing like, when are you coming on the show? Because some people I got the hand on, when are you coming on the show? So I know I've seen you a few times, and it's been in passing. So I really appreciate you coming, giving us your time.
I'm
you know what I mean?
I'm excited.
So we don't introduce anybody on this show because I don't want to fight with your mom about messing your name up and all that type of stuff. So can you please let folks know who you are? And we want a little bit of identity. So like I want brick and mortar, social media, all of that.
Okay.
But you know, I'm of Jamaican descent. You know, I want a little bit of that. I don't need personal business, but you know, I want some identity. You know what I mean?
You know, I tell people when they meet me, when you meet Dr. Williams, your life will never be the same.
Okay.
Right. And so before there was a Dr. Williams, there was a Didi. I'm from Nicetown. I grew up in Nicetown. My father was a pastor for 40 plus years, and then I took on leadership as pastor of the church. Grew up in Nicetown, graduate of Simon Gratz High School, class of 96. Hey. And so
that's a year after me.
Yes, 96. 96. I went to Germantown High School.
Right.
Coming from Pickett. But I got kicked out of Germantown.
Okay, we ain't gonna ask about that story just
No,
yet.
I think it's important because I was a fighter, right? And I had hands back in the day, and I still think I got some. But my hands is different now. I fight for a different cause, right? And so I think it's important that people understand why I do what I do. And just being in that era of time where you're misunderstood, always fighting, dealing with the abuse that I went through in my life, the sexual abuse, and all the things that I encountered. Coming from Nicetown, people say, what good could come out of Nicetown? Dr. D, right? I'm afforded with blessings of having 2 bachelors, 2 masters, a doctoral degree, and working on my PhD, and I'm all from Nicetown, right?
Right.
And so I'm in the community because I love to do what I do. And as I said, my father was a pastor at New Inspirational Baptist Church for 34 years, and then I came on as pastor. But then I started getting involved with the parishioners of my church and hearing their issues. And they're like, Pastor D, I got issues with my landlord. Pastor D, these people are not taking care of my child at the school. And I just couldn't feel like being a pastor on Sunday alone, or teaching Bible study on Wednesday, or doing a class throughout the week. It's more than just being a pastor from the sacred desk. And I felt like a calling to the community. And so I changed my pulpit. My pulpit's the streets.
Do you have organization? Do you got programs you do?
So the organizations and programs, I have On the Right Track with Dr. D, and that really culminated because I'm a declarated NCAA national champion in track and field. 13-time All-American, record holder.
What you ran?
400, 200, 100, long jump, jump, high
fast.
jump. Oh, yeah. I was fast.
Okay.
As these young people say, Google me.
Right. That's what's up. I'm definitely going. I'm a basketball junkie, but I just like sports overall.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I went to grad. Our rival back in the day was William Penn.
Right. William, it don't exist no more for all of y'all who don't know. It used to be on Broad and Master on that corner, right? My older sister graduated from there. Yes. So William Penn don't exist. So shout out to all the William Penn grads. I gotta give a shout out.
I can't believe I'm saying it now, decades later. But those young ladies, respectfully, they have become great pioneers within themselves. But that was our rival back then. But so being a declarated track athlete on the right track with Dr. D came from my experience in running track. And I felt like I could help people get on track. Right. And so with me ascertaining my doctoral degree, On the Right Track with Dr. T was born. And out of that came other nonprofits like Cerebrum, One Mind at a Time, because I'm a mental health expert guru. Graduated in 2001 from Tulane with my master's in clinical social work. 2001. I say that because this has been over 20 years for me. Yeah. So I'm not no rookie in this thing, right? And so when people look at me like, how old are you? I'm like, yeah. But I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Right. And so out of that, and then getting my master's in education, specialized in special ed from Arcadia in 2006, I merged all my worlds together of academia, and I had Cerebral, One Mind at a Time, and then I have Hood to Hood. Okay. Hood to Hood birthed because I grew up in the hood, right? In Nicetown. Right. But then I realized every time I graduated, I got hooded. Right. So I went from hood to hood. Right. And so out of that was my nonprofit where I give scholarship money. I'm paying people tuitions. Right. I'm people call me and say, Dr. D, I need to stay in school. They tell me I don't have enough money. So I have a program called All in 4. You're gonna finish this in 4 years. Right. We give scholarship to people who are going to school. but we rarely give scholarship for people to stay in school. Right. And so that was my whole niche about hood to hood. I want you to stay in school. I want you to graduate, whether you in a 4-year college, 2-year trade school, no matter if you're in a training program. We're getting your books. We're helping you to get whatever you need to do to be successful. So that's why we have hood to hood. And lastly but not least, I have on the right track consulting, which is my LLC business, where I do a lot of contracts with the city, contracts through different nonprofits. People hire me to do whether it's mental health, giving them counseling, whether it's doing some one-on-one coaching. And I also have my own publishing company, Purple Queen Publishing House, where I publish my own book. I just Amazon maybe 3 weeks ago. I dropped my 3rd book on Amazon, and so
I love when people, because I ain't gonna get into that.
No, get into it.
I'm not gonna get into it.
Why not?
I was about to say, because like sometimes folks will make, especially, I don't know, I'm not gonna say especially for a man, but I feel like it just because I am a man and I get this response. It's like when you tell people all of these things, it be looked at like, oh, you're not being modest enough, like you're not being humble, and then we find ourselves telling people like, I done did 10 things in 10 days, and I found myself telling you about 4, because it's like if I tell you about the whole 10, the arrogance John gonna come out like, you being arrogant.
See, going back to what you just said earlier, right? You said about the woman empowerment. On August the 10th, I had 75 women out in Hatfield, PA, where I gathered for the mid-year transformation experience.
Right.
What are you going to do for the next couple of months that's left in this year? Right. Giving them the idea to say, you are confident, but you're not conceited.
Right.
You are who you say you are because you believe. And the whole premise of my women coming together, I had women who we sponsored from women's shelters. A lot of time we forget about that population of people. We had people that was traveling all parts of the tri-state area to come to this mid-year transformation experience. And that's when I dropped my 30-day commitment journal book on them.
When you coming to, hold up. When is she coming to the Hill Station to do some of this
I can come to the Hill Station.
We need to set up some days and times to do some of, and then keeping it with the theme of the show, I want to make sure that when I ask the first question, I want to make sure people have this. Do you have an Instagram?
I do have an Instagram,
Facebook.
But Dr. Williams, I have a Facebook. Deshaunda Williams is my Facebook.
Okay.
Instagram for me, when I pivoted from being on the campaign trail, because I ran for city council at large, I had an account, but I shut that down. Then I started Queen Mental Health Dr. D. It's not as robust as it should be. So PSA, I'm looking for somebody to help me with marketing, Facebook.
See?
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
I try to listen. I wish these young people was here. I had so many opportunities for young folks.
I need somebody to handle my
do that
business.
Social media management.
Let me tell you,
that's what it is.
One of my friends from Florida called me, woman of God, prophetess. She said, Dr. Williams, you are everywhere, but nobody knows that you're everywhere. You have to step your social media game up. And I was like, I know, but I need help. And she's like, you got to put it out there. And so I'm putting it out there. I need help to build my Instagram, to build my whatever the bird, I don't know what
Twitter.
They got, whatever they got out there. Because I'm not her, but guess what? I'm on a plane 3 days. I'm on a plane 3 times a month. I'm on a plane, train. I'm flying it. I just came back from DC.
See, that sound like
I just came back from North Carolina, so I'm everywhere all the time. I just need to capture those moments. I need somebody to do that. Like I have a tour manager, I have a personal assistant, I have a driver, I have all of that. And people like Dr. Williams, but I don't put it all out on social media. I don't want to feel like I'm being
you make like I tell people I need a driver, they look at me like bro, I need a driver. I would get a lot more work done if I had a driver.
I do.
On some real shit, I would get a lot more work done. The same thing, I was at the when I was doing CCIP, I was at the precinct. We had a captain's meeting, and I don't know why this always stick out, but I understand the systematic way of thinking. When he was like, I have 6 emails. I only answer 1, but I got people manning all 6 emails, and they get with me and let me know in order what things I need to do. I have a
personal assistant. We meet every top of the week. First of all, I fast and pray every Monday.
Right.
Monday's shut down. I don't talk to nobody. I'm praying because so much going on in the world and so many things that I encounter and I experience. And so I don't want to carry that through the rest of my week. So Mondays I fast and I pray. But on Tuesday, my personal assistant, she sends me an email. She called me, we talk. This is what your schedule looks like. She has access to my account. My driver gets access to my account. And then I have my tour manager who lets me know this is what you got to do. This is where we're going to be at for this month. And then honestly, I just recently, I had my husband there. We got married, but it was hard for him to adjust. I had a maid and a butler.
See?
No lie. I had a maid and I had a butler / chef. And so people was
now,
like,
see,
Dr.
this
D.
is what,
and people,
this is what,
I only people that know me was like, how do you do it? And I was like, you know what I did? That young man who said to me, Dr. Williams, I'm a chef. I was like, all right, I'm gonna hire you as my chef. You my butler. The rice was a little burnt, fix it a little bit, but I was his first.
Right, yeah.
So now then I get somebody call me like, oh, I'm starting a business, a cleaning business. I was like, all right, I'm gonna hire you to be my maid.
Right.
So now I got a maid, I got a chef / butler, I got a driver.
But they try to make it seem like I ain't a revolutionary no more if I get a maid and a butler. Why not? What what the hell? Like
business owner help another business owner.
Yes,
but you can have it too.
No, I'm on the same time. I already have those on some real. Like people may think that like when you first get into those points, you have to really literally. When people are like, you can't do everything by yourself. No, you can't. But to get the foundation set, you literally have to do everything by yourself and kind of bring folks in.
That's what I did
at different stages. Like, because if you give somebody a task too early in the foundation building or whatever you doing, and they not on the same ish as you, it's not going. I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to sustain. No. You're going to keep not messing with those people because it'd be like, I'm going 100%. You going 70.
Some people don't realize that other people are crawling trying to walk. Baby, I'm flying. And where I'm going, everybody can't come with me because they can't handle the ride. Number one. Number two, I don't hang around people that says I'm doing too much. You're not my friend. Because you don't realize my purpose, my passion, and the possibilities that's around me.
And I'm getting and this is a humble moment.
It is a humble moment.
And I'm really getting the shit done. Like y'all be like, yo, you doing too much shit. And they be like, no. I'm not really seeing. And this is a humble moment. And this is a humble moment.
Right.
I'm not really seeing honestly. And this is an honest assessment. And anybody that's in my life, I if you want to make this a challenge or you want to challenge me or however you feel about it, I don't see people in my life going as hard as me. And I love them dearly and people go to their own level of hard. But I don't see people in my life that I'm not cutting them off or nothing like that. But I do know if I'm running at 50 and you running at 30, the gap gonna keep getting bigger.
But here's the thing.
That's something that I understand.
But even if they're not going as hard as you, I think oftentimes we have to look at our circle of inner circle, right? And they may not be going hard as you, and then you gotta reevaluate your circle of friends, right? But I say this to say, if I'm around you and you're not increasing or progressing, then that's a problem. Because I like to be around people that's better than me. I don't want to be the biggest fish in the pond. I'm already a big fish in certain ponds. I don't want to be the biggest fish. I want to be the littlest fish so I can learn, because people have to understand the new big is little. When you start small,
you gotta a lot of stuff is being decentralized.
You be strategic and you strategize. Like, yeah, I have multiple businesses. I have multiple LLCs. I have multiple nonprofits. But guess what? Each of them are evidential. A lot of people got a lot of stuff, but they're not showing no evidence.
Right.
I could call every.
I like that.
Yeah, evidential.
Your stuff ain't evident. I got a list, and my stuff is evidential.
You gotta show the evidence.
I like that. I like that.
I'm all about intimacy. It gotta be evidence. Yeah. You gotta be intentional.
I got a list. I just really looked at the list too. I was like, damn, I got a list.
Too many people got positions but no power.
None.
I just made a call. I just made a call for a friend. Oh, I've been trying to get to this city council person, blah, 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 blah. I said, hold on, click up. What's up, Doc? What you need? Hold on, I got somebody on the line. I just want to connect you. Boom, connect. Y'all go, you good? Hang up. I'm not trying to drink coffee and eat cookies with y'all. No. I'm just trying to tell you, when you meet Dr. Williams, your life will never be the same. You got to be intentional. You got to be evidential. You got to make sure that you are credential to do what you say you came to do.
I like that. I like that. Hold up before.
Yes.
What was it? It was
you gotta be what?
You need to be.
You need to be.
I know evidential was
intentional.
I'm very intentional.
You gotta be evidential.
I'm very evidential.
And you gotta be credentialed.
I am credentialed. I need to get more on the credentials though.
But no, if you say you could go in your Rolodex and you could make a phone call and you look at the lives that you empowered and impacted.
Oh yeah, that's
your credit.
Now I do talk a lot about track record.
I can say I serviced over 10,000 children in the city of Philadelphia. Why? Because I started in 2000 as a clinical social worker. Right. This is 2024. I can say I've been in so many homes. I can say I've been over 22 public schools, at least 10 charter schools. Why? Because Dr. Williams has paved the way for the last 2 decades. I can tell you how many community centers that I've done free mental health workshops in. Because I impacted. So that's my credit. That's my credentials. You know the lives all them young men. Think about all the young men's lives you touched through these basketball games. When you look at one child, you're looking at a whole nation. You're not looking at a tribe. A tribe is gone. We're looking at nations. When every child I look at, I'm touching nations. I'm touching a nation. Even if that child is 2 years old, I know that by the time he's 22 years old, he's never gonna forget Dr. Wayne.
And that's something we talk about a lot. And then we have talked about like the importance of education, whatever you. Like, not whatever you deem education to be, but I know from reading John Henry Clark, like, education is to be a proper handler of power. You know what I'm saying? So what tools are you giving folks to be able to handle whatever power they're going to come into? When you say a nation, I know you have the ability that's what you are. But what am I giving you to actuate that? Like, for that to actually happen?
You know what you give them?
No. I'm not saying, like, asking a question, but I'm saying that's what we... That's always my thing. Like, I always want to be explaining something to you, giving you some context, giving you some history, giving you some. Do this make sense? I need you to think. You know, I talk a lot about critical thought and identity.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm more than anything agreeing with you. Like, I know that those lives are being touched, so I know what my track record is in any room, and that stands up ethically. Integrity wise, dignity, like my track record also is steeped in that. Like,
but all of that's good if they can't connect it to the fact that they felt that you really cared about them, that you really loved them. And I think that's one of the main ingredients when we do this kind of work and we're in a community. These people know if we are genuine. They know if we actually care about them. Like you saying, those young people saying, well, we always had people being inconsistent, right? And so I like to call those individuals, we have to be influencers. We are the first responders in these children's lives. We are the first responders. We are the first influencers that they will see, that will help them feel like they can jump from one roof to another and believe that, yes, I know we're about 20 feet high, but I strongly believe I could do this. Why? Because you said I could do it. Because you believe that I could do it. And so I think that it's really imperative that we understand that when we do this work, that's why I'm always asking 3 people 3 things. Name 3 people right now who house you've been to in the last 7 days.
Me?
No, I'm just saying, that's why I tell people, community stakeholders.
Right.
If you can't tell me an address, a telephone number, or a name, then you're really not doing the work.
And
you're not doing the work. You cannot tell me you in the community
and
you can't give me 3 names, 3 addresses, 3 times. And I'm not asking you to look at your phone. I'm asking you to really know, because that tells me that you are invested. That tells me that you are and I hear people say, oh, I grew up in North Philly, but you the professor over at some university, sir. When was the last time you was in the hood? I'm not asking where you grew up. I'm asking, did you go back?
When you been there? Where have you been?
Where was your last? Where did you last tread?
Because that's my thing too. I think that's connected to the thing of, like, you know how people have those ongoing programs, and you ask the question of, my thing is always, where's your alumni? If you don't have anybody coming back, if you've been going on for 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and you don't have a strong alumni, and you dealing with young people, you ain't really doing the work. They coming through this joint and getting away from it. And you know that. Over time, you know that. And that you don't care about it. So that be my thing. Like, if you got any program going on with young folks and you've been doing it for an amount of time and you don't have a strong alumni, something ain't right in there.
Can I tell you, when I ran for city council at large, I called my young people that I was their mobile therapists, their counselor, their therapists, when they was in the 3rd and 4th grade. They are grown men and women right now with children. They helped me with my campaign to pass out my material.
That's how it's supposed to be. Like
they're like, for you, Dr. D,
cause
of course.
that's a personal thing. Like politics. Like I wouldn't really assist any politician for real. For like I really gotta know you personally.
Right.
To be able to know that the things that you going through in this, you are really dealing with these issues for the first time.
Yes.
So when you get in them rooms where I think it's highly questionable to even be having a conversation about a particular thing, I do know where you come from if you sitting in that room.
Right.
Normally, if I don't know where you come from, just the very fact that you'll sit in that room is like, nah, I don't believe neither one of y'all. Y'all not fighting for anybody because there's a certain amount of loss. You know, like I know what policy. Collateral damage is something that they don't tell you about, but they know every policy that you put in place. You know the side effects, the bad things that can happen. Y'all have people that do that for you, that help. If you're not doing it yourself, which most politicians are not,
right?
But they are part of the process of what do this program or this whatever we're applying to this community, to this business, how it's going to impact. Y'all do all the numbers, algorithms, all the good stuff. Right. So you know. So my thing be like most politicians, I don't trust them because you really do know the stuff in between the margins that the people may never understand. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And I really gotta trust a person that I'll know is gonna sit in those type of rooms and do the right thing.
And I think,
you know what I mean?
And I think that's the segue to why people now are a little hesitant about voting or feeling like their vote count. Because when they had that momentum, when they had that energy, when they had that trust, when they had that hope, that they thought that the person that they thought was going to go in and do it, realizes that they didn't come out after 2 to 3 years or 4 years to do what they said they were going to do, then it was the point.
Right.
Right. And so I think that is a tough situation to be in, but I also feel like we can't lose hope. Right. And so for me, my point is the evidence, the intentionality, the credibility of, if I could go back 10, 15 years to call people that I was with them when they were children, now they're adults, to help me on a political campaign for free, to me, that speaks volumes. That speaks
right to me. That's alumni. That's that alumni thing.
That's that alumni, right?
That's alumni.
When you're having fundraisers, I look at people, when they do fundraisers for their events, and I'm like, you say you have these relationships, you say you have all this leverage. Why are you begging for $15 and $20 and $30? You should already come in saying, "Hey, I got a donor for $100,000. Can y'all match what I already have?"
These people already know me. I've been doing the work. I come in with a certain cachet because I've already been doing the work. So why does it look like you're just starting? Yes. You know what I'm saying?
But you've been out here for 10
But you've been out here supporting the community and doing these things. And it's just one of those things of looking into root causes. Again, getting our people to critically think, starting with the young folks, but just overall, because that's something that's taught.
Yeah.
Like it's not common sense. It's not common to everybody. It's just not. You're not born with the ability to think about outcomes.
Right.
You're born with the ability to be instinctual. Deal with it when it get there. And then over time, you understand where these things are at and you have like a sixth sense, but it's really still your instincts. It's just over time. But can you critically think how not to even go down that road anymore?
Yeah, and I think, and that comes with wisdom. And I tell people, I often pray to God for various things. And one of the things I pray for is wisdom. And I know that praying for wisdom means that I'm going to have to experience some stuff. Because wisdom don't come without experience.
Not at all.
Those are life lessons. And so every time I'm asking for wisdom, I know that I'm asking to be put in a situation that's going to cause me to understand the difference between good and bad. Right and wrong. And so I think a lot of times people have these lived experiences, but they don't know how to respond to it, or they don't have the teachers or the mentors around them to cultivate them to say, hey, you went through this experience. How do you think you should respond? And what do you think you'll do differently next time? Right. I tell people I don't want what's good for me, because good would never be good enough. I don't want what's better for me, because better would never be good enough. I only want what's best. Because what's best for me means I'm going to have the best outcome. Good is good. Better is better than good. But best is better than good. Yeah, that's so for me, I want the best.
So let me ask you, what are your resources? If somebody says, I see you said a lot of the programs, what you do, you have a lot of things that you do. But what is the thing or things that you would say these are my resources? This is what I bring to the table.
So I tell people, I try to break it down. It's a difference between the source and the resource, right? The source is the entity within itself that we created, which are our nonprofits. My source is On the Right Track with Dr. D, but I am the resource to the source. Resource, you see the word resource? We're giving back out to the community what's already established. The problem is a lot of these sources are not credible. right?
Got
And
you.
so for my source is On the Right Track with Dr. D Consulting, where I go into communities, centers or communities, and people contract me out to write curriculums or develop social emotional learning workshops. That's the source. But for me as a resource, then you could call me and say, Doc, I need a referral to get some mental health services. Then I could call a organization like Emir Healing Center, where I'm at, Every Murder is Real Healing Center, as the clinical director, where I counsel children as young as 2 years old all the way up to the age of 92. I could give you a referral to an incredible organization that I know that's the source that's doing the work. That's why I tell people we're the resources. That's why we got to be mindful when we're out here pivoting and navigating and helping people. As the resource, I want to connect you to the source, right? Another source is, again, like I said, hood to hood, where young people are in school, want to stay in school, but is about to kicked out because some financial challenges. Then they can give me a call. I give my number. My number is public, 267-257-4468.
Give it to them
again. 267-257-4468. And again, that number is 267-257-4468, right? Because I believe that if you want the help, you'll reach out to get the help.
No doubt. And that used to be my heavy. I used to be doing that when I first came on. I was just like, people like, why are you giving out your number? I'll be like, bro, I'm out here in the streets. I don't have a brick and mortar you'll probably be able to come to. I'm never probably going, for the most part, for real, have a brick and mortar. I'll have places where programming and sources are. Right. But
because you're the resource.
Right. But I'll be moving around. So you're going to need to call me. So I'm like, call me. And I like... Because, I'll be thinking about all this stuff and I'll be wanting to say it, but we got a whole show. That's usually for my one-on-ones when I don't have a guest and I could just go on and get my therapy, because I do want to ask you about that too. Yes. But I'll ask you about the therapy first. Yes. So give us some free therapy. Give us some low-cost therapy. Give us some virtual. Give us some Zoom. Give us some person. Give me some options. As far as some sources I need options, because that conversation is it's a real conversation in my life. Yeah. Almost everybody that I'm around, it's a real conversation. Shout out to Black Men Hills. I'm definitely going to tap in and register with them. They have an 8-week free Zoom, but stuff like that. Like if you know anybody like that, if you provide those resources, I definitely mental health stuff. There are people trying to go to therapy.
So you have various groups of therapeutic services, right? You have the ones that they do pay. You have to pay out of pocket sliding scale, meaning maybe from like $75 to $195 a session. But then you have those services where like community behavioral health, right? CBH. CBH is the godmother of all programs in the city of Philadelphia that comes under them. And then over them is also the DBIDHS, the Department of Behavioral Health and Behavioral Health, right? So you have these different DBIDHS, long acronym, right? So those are services that you can, basically get free services because you have public assistance or you have a diagnosis that says you need this particular counseling. Then you have these different agencies like Mary Key, you have Wernie Smith, you have Consortium, all of these agencies that help bring in the services that you need. One of the challenges that people are facing is because we have so many people that's in dire need, the waiting list is so long, right? But it's free therapy, but you just have to wait to get the services. The coolest thing is recently Mary Key has partnered with DBIDHS and CBH on some minute clinics, right? So the minute clinics is where you could just go in like you're going to an urgent care. Right. You can go in, talk to somebody real quick, tell them your issues and your challenges, and then they'll talk to you in that moment. And if you're having a major crisis, of course, they'll send you to the right people. Right. But at least that's another avenue.
Yes, because sometimes I think you just need a neutral arbitrator.
You do.
But you was about to say
that's just another avenue for someone that needs that immediate response right then and there. They might say after they talk to somebody, they might say, I feel good. I'm good now. I might not need a continuum of every month, once a week. Having that conversation with that person in that minute, gave me what I needed. The other thing is for the free therapy, say for example, you're dealing with domestic violence or co-homicide or co-victim of homicide. You have organizations like Emir Healing Center. You have organizations like Mothers in Charge. It's so many grassroots organizations that you could get free grief counseling through that you don't have to pay out of your pocket, as long as you've been impacted by one of those those social ills or tragedies.
So we definitely have to do some level of that at the healing station.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep plugging the healing station,
As
and I got your number now, and
As
your email,
should.
and all that, and
As
we
you
gonna be
should.
like, healing station, we need you here.
Yes.
But I something that you said that I think is like hard for us to gauge is like, how much do you need? You know, and I know that is arbitrary based on when you go sit in front of somebody, right? But it's like when we are having a conversation about it and kind of like trying to promote it to people and get people to do it, I think it'd be like a cat like me is like, I don't have any crisis issues going on. I haven't been diagnosed with anything. My stress levels are, for a black man, I could be wrong, but my stress levels are like normal. You know what I'm saying? Whatever normal is, but I feel like I don't be on edge all the time. I don't have a lot of anxiety. The things I know that are going on for me that people could say are stressful, I know they're going on, and I'm prepared to deal with them every day. So I don't really look at them as necessarily stress. It's more work to be done. And I don't look at work as stress, because a lot of my work is my life. I enjoy doing it. Right. So it's like, for people like me, it's like, when people say you should go to therapy, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, it's not necessarily pressing.
So this is the thing.
I know it's a maintenance thing that's involved, but then you know how people talk to you like, nah, you avoiding it.
But the challenge, the challenge is oftentimes the question that you asked was, how much do you need? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's more about how much do you need. It's really about understanding what it is that you need. It's a difference between a therapist and a life coach. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think a lot of times people, when I'm engaged with someone and I realize after talking with them in the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'll recognize that they may not need a therapist. They might need a life coach. Right. That's what I do. So that's
that's good.
I'm a life coach. I'm a mental health therapist. Yeah. I'm a pastor. I know wearing these multiple hats, I have to discern in conversation with that person. Do they need a pastor to pray with them at that moment? They could. Maybe they don't need the pastor in scriptures. They might need a life coach. Maybe they might not need a life coach. This person might need a therapist. Right. So I think that it's really incumbent upon the person that you're in conversation with, because that's why you can't talk to everybody. Right. Everybody don't have the expertise to give you the guidance that you need. That's why you got to stay in tune with spirit. Allow the spirit to guide you to the right people and to the right sources, right? So you can get the resources that you need to be rejuvenated, to be revitalized. Right?
I think that's a really, really, really good.
And I tell people, man, I'm like, you need a life coach,
right? Because I feel like
you don't need a therapist.
Because I feel like I do, but then sometimes I ain't gonna lie to y'all, like, and I do. Sometimes I be feeling like, am I saying I think I need a therapist because I've been to jail, and it's like the thing that I know my brothers go through real transitions where they really, really need therapists and they not getting.
But if you have to ask yourself, do you think you need a therapist, then perhaps you may need one.
But I feel like sometimes I feel like that because that's what I'm getting from the world that I'm in. Like, it's no way you did the amount of time that you did and don't need a therapist.
So,
and
it's like, that's just like linguistics, language, right? I'm a pastor. If I say the word fuck, shit, hell, and all that, oh my God.
Like,
but people don't understand that language is language. People deem that to be inappropriate. Right. Y'all told us those words was wrong. Why? It's words. Right. If I say myrrh, that means shit in French. Mm-hmm. It's still, I mean, it's cultural. It depends on where you come from. So when you allow people to project their narrative on you, then you would start. That's why I said if you start questioning yourself. So
I'm not so much, and it's another thing too, but I'm not so much saying it for me because I have dealt with that actively and was like, all right, how do I feel about this? Like, that's how I don't know. I would say counsel yourself. Like, I sit in moments and be like, bro, how do you really feel about this? Like, do you really feel mad? Like, are you really? I do that from the standpoint of like, I did go a long time where it's like you don't have nobody to talk to, so it's like, and I know you need
so you
people.
got normalized
like
not
how
talking
to
people?
No, I talk to people and
right.
I tell people all my business. Like
right.
I don't have no business. Like
but
that's one of those.
The point is what you're saying is that you've gone through these various experiences in life.
Right.
And when people hear you talk about what you've been through or know what you've been through, it's hard for them to fathom or conceptualize how is it that he is who he is today without having to have any intervention
or needing some.
Well, either or. Listen.
They don't sound crazy, but people just be like, you. I mean, you have to go to therapy. Like, don't you think? I'm for real. I'm being serious. This is how people kind of like. You need a little bit of therapy.
No, I think honestly, we all need somebody to talk to. Right. It's about when we do it and how we do it.
Right.
I think it's important. Right? Because at the end of the day, you could be carrying some childhood trauma for so many years and then walk into a restaurant and a song come on and you have a whole freaking meltdown. You had a whole John. Right? And so, again, I think it depends on where you are in the stages of your life and how these people externally are outside of your life and what they're saying and what they're putting in your life. You might be at a stage where you are just okay.
I'm good.
You good.
I'm good. I'm happy, bro.
Right?
Like on some real.
And I
weathered the storms. Like,
right, and I tell people, people say, "Oh, Dr. Wayne, you be doing so much. I didn't call you because I thought you were busy." I said, "Well, that's your fault.
Yeah,
because you took on the assumption by me doing the work that I do that I would not prioritize you to be first on my list. So you messed up.
Stop assuming stuff.
You messed up,
so,
right?
The other thing I was going to say earlier, I don't want to miss this. This is kind of like a little shot. Okay. I don't want the show to be over if I get this shot off. Okay. So there's a lot of people that be saying, "Where you be at? Where you be at? I'll be looking for you. I'll be here every Tuesday. If you supported me, you would know where I'll be at." And on to the show. So I do want to ask the question of why. You said it earlier, yes. But why? Like, give me, like, why do you do what you do?
Because I understand that I am here to help heal hurting people. I'm here. My purpose is to help heal hurting people. My purpose is to really be a beacon light for others, while at the same time I self-improve myself.
Right.
Each day that I help somebody else is another day I realize that this is what I was called.
This is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah. So you can't. I guess for me, it's like you can't burn out. If you know how people always be like, if you love your job, it's not like work. So what I do, like, when people be like, "You're gonna burn out, it's work. You're all over the place," and I be like, "Yo, on everything, like, I really love doing what I do." I might burn out from something else, but I don't know if it's this right here.
And that's why you gotta be around the people that understand your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. Because I tell people, you could get tired in doing the work, but you never should get tired of the work.
Right.
It's a difference.
A big difference.
You can get tired in doing the work because you're human, but you're never going to get tired
with these black people
of the work, because doing of the work means that you are intentional.
I want to ask you this: Is it? And this is a big question for me. Is it really, really important to have a therapist who is racially the same? How important is that to you? Like, for me, I don't want to talk to anybody that's not a black man or a black woman. I'm sure they may have some skill sets, but I don't think. This is a think. This is a feeling. I've done some research on it too. Like, but most people who don't, if you don't connect with my way of life, my historically what I've been through, I don't really know how you could kind of try to help me in these spaces when you don't. Like, if you don't acknowledge racism, that's the question more than anything.
Well, first of all, we wouldn't talk about racism in therapy.
Okay.
Right? Number two, I think it's contextually, meaning it depends on who you are and where you are in life. For example, do I think that for our babies, our children at the Philadelphia School District and or at the charter schools, we would like to have more people of us teaching and counseling our children.
Right.
I am very big on feeling like you should be from our community, right?
Yeah.
Because you're commuting to a community taking care of a child for 8 hours a day times 5, that's 40 hours a week, right? You're spending all this time with this child not knowing that the night before somebody got murdered on their steps, right? And I think that I feel for me contextually, I would like to see more counselors look like our children. Not saying that those who don't look like our children can't provide the same level of expertise in what they've learned in the classroom, but I know that these classrooms are not teaching people to come into the hood and knowing how to be spit on, or roaches crawling on their legs, or walk into a house that's full of 10, 15 people and it smell like dog poop and cat poop, and you can't even stand there for more than 10 minutes because it's just beneath you, then you're not ready to do the work.
Right.
And until we can get people who understand the struggle and the work, I do agree that contextually, depending on the situation, we might want to stick with our own because they understand the plight.
Cultural competence.
Right? Now, the older we become, I think that to me, race doesn't matter as long as you know what you need to do to help me navigate my life. To get me out of this depression or this anxiety that I'm dealing with. Right. Don't just shoot me off and just, because that's the same question we should be asking about our healthcare.
Yes.
How many black doctors do we actually go see? We always seeing somebody of another race, right? Because why? We have to do our homework to find the black doctor, to know that doctor is off of City Line Avenue, or know that doctor has her own private practice over in Cedarbrook. I'm just calling the black people I know.
But that's the reason why I asked the question, because it does play a part in so much of our lives that a lot of that stress, depression, is indirectly and directly coming from those systems. You know what I mean? So it's like
we have to do the work.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you step in and you're talking to me and I'm saying like it's certain things that are happening to me because of.
I had to leave one of my primary physicians because I knew by a certain age there were certain things I should be getting tests for. So when I'm asking you for these tests and you're telling me not right now, you no longer could be my doctor.
Right.
Because you're not caring about my health as much as I am. But a lot of us don't do that, right? We don't do it for many reasons. I don't know why, but I think the question is, should we keep in our own circle of therapists? Yes and no. To me, it's contextually. It depends on where you are and what stage of your life. Would I want my child to be taught by people of color? Yes, but there are some really good teachers out there who are Asian, who are white, who are Hispanic. And I
had a good Asian teacher in the 2nd grade. I like to tell people all the time, like, I feel like I had the last revolutionary teachers at me elementary school in the 80s. I went there from K to 6. And the teachers that I had, all black women, except I had a black man in 5th grade. It's horrible that I don't remember his name, but he was a great teacher. I had a black man that was my speech therapist from kindergarten to the 4th grade. Can't remember that brother's name, but he had a great impact on me. And all of my other teachers were black women. And the reason why I say that they were like revolutionary, because like in the 4th grade, I had a teacher, her name is Miss Ballard. And it was a young man named Samuel. And whatever his situation was, because we was in the 4th grade. So everybody was 8, 9, maybe 10. So, you know, I don't know what your situation is, but I know she brought clothes, washed him up in the bathroom, made sure he was fed, combed his hair, and this was every morning. And this wasn't her child. You know what I'm saying? And there was a little girl in the class that was kind of similar, that she did some of the similar things, but she treated all of us like this. But then in that situation, she knew what the situation was, and that's what I experienced from K through 6. Another experience, and the reason why this is really important for me that I like to get this out is because it goes to your point, what our people are willing to do because they understand where these babies are coming from. So it doesn't become this issue where his behavior is just what it is and I don't look into it, I don't understand. Yes, because his behavior, and I remember this in the 4th grade at 9, that's the reason why I tell this story a lot, because I remember how he acted before she took that course with him and how he was once he was coming there and she was washing him up, making sure he was clean, making sure he was fed, how he acted in class after that. I remember it.
Whole behavior change.
Right. And then I remember in the 6th grade, Miss Stewart, shout out to Miss Stewart, because we went to school. I was on 18th and Oxford in the middle of North Philly in the 80s. 18th and Master. It did not look like what it looked right now. Temple didn't have all of it. The houses was falling down. It was what it was. It looked like a war zone. And this was before crack. This was before crack. Crack came in so easy because it came into that. Right. People who were living in that. Right. So that's why crack blew how it blew, because the people who were introduced to it come from that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but Miss Stewart had her son in the class. So the teaching, like, I could teach here, but I wouldn't want my child to go here. I learned from those teachers, like, they had their children and they lived in University City, Winfield. I learned that later. I didn't know that then. And then, like, one or two of my teachers lived in North Philly. Like, they made good money. They lived in North Philly. So it was like the reason why I say, like, the last revolutionary
because
teacher.
If their child is good enough to go there
exactly
with you, and it made you feel like that's awesome.
Yeah, like I remember he was tall, I was tall, so we sat in the back of the class. We both getting in trouble. Like, it wasn't nothing different, and we clearly knew that was her son. Wow. He didn't get no special treatment, none of that. And she wasn't extra hard on him neither.
Right.
You know, it was just real fair and balanced, but getting that lesson at 11.
Yeah.
Understanding that about these women at 11. And I'm like, all right. And then as I'm start reading stuff as I get older and these things are contextualized and they telling you, like, yeah, it is a look if you saying you could teach at this school, but your children can't go here. Yeah. That means something. Like you said, the other thing, contextualizing. You're commuting from an environment that's completely different than these babies that you got 40 hours a week with.
I remember I asked the CEO of a particular charter school. I asked him, why don't your children go to these schools that you're asking our parents to agree that you come, your school come and take over? Because I know where your children go. I said the name of the school because I did my homework.
Right.
So if this school is such a great school, if you're going to take over it as the CEO of this charter school,
transfer your babies.
Why don't you bring your children down here? Oh, then I told the parents because his children can't come to y'all school.
Exactly.
Because it's not about his children, it's about your children. Because if his children can't come to school with your children, then they're not good enough. Exactly.
Because you come here every day, so it would make perfect sense that y'all all get together in the morning and go to school. Right. Together. It's a great commute. It's very easy. But on that note, I so appreciate you coming.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
Can you please let everybody know who you are again and give us somewhere where we can tell them the phone number and anything else where we can tap into you?
Yes. On the right track with Dr. D. I tell people you could Google me, Deshonda Williams. My number is 267-257-4468. I like people to do their homework.
Me too.
I don't want to give them too much.
Okay.
Go Google. Look it up. It's real easy. And reach out to me, and I'll do my best. You know, I'll do my best to change your life and connect you to the right sources because I'm a resource to you.
So I appreciate her so much. Y'all know we going to tap in. The Healing Station going to get some of these contract services, some of these free services.
Yes,
if they exist.
Yes, they
do. If free services exist, we'll take that. So listen, man, I love doing this show, bro. This joint make me feel good. I never come up here and not want to do it, and I've been doing it for 3 years. So
this is where y'all can find them on Tuesday.
Yeah.
4 to 5.
People talking about where you been at, bro. I'm here every Tuesday for 3 years. Support me. You would know where I'm at if you support me.
PSA, baby.
Exactly. PSA, Philly Service Announcement, Takeover Tuesday, Takeover Love, Support, Great Social Activism, Resources, and Art. Shout out to the Queen, Raw Cannon. Come back. Where are you at? Do I got to come pick you up and show for you? I need you.
Can I make an announcement about tomorrow? Yes. So tomorrow, my good friend, Emilio Sparks, he's having an event tomorrow.
All right. Shout out to Emilio. Shout out to Sparks.
Yes. He's having an event tomorrow over there at the Fathership Foundation, 1946 South 65th Street. It's called Breaking the Silence, Remove the Stigma. And then Worcester Day, we having Worcester Day. Let me pull that up.
Worcester and Maderi?
Worcester Unity Day is Saturday, September the 7th.
Okay.
And they're having it from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. At 4971 Bayton Street, Philadelphia, PA. So again, tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., August 28th, with Emilio Sparks Foundation. Breaking the Silence, Remove the Stigma. You can check me.
Shout out to Dr. Wilson.
He gonna be there tomorrow.
I know he ain't feeling me because I wasn't there on Monday, bro. I'm running and gunning like Coach K, man. You know what I'm doing out here. Appreciate you too. We gonna get on out of here. Listen, man, I love black people. Period.
Peace.
Thank you. I love good conversation.
That was a great show.
I love good conversation. Ooh,
Yes.
Right? So this
my legs.